Energy is intense. We're gonna chit chat about it a little bit. Index of 111 degrees is no joke. It is absolutely no joke. That is literally, that just sounds horrible. Good morning, Tanya. Tammy, hi. Oh, it's your first time here. Welcome from Atlanta. You're gonna have so much fun, I promise. Pamela, good morning. Hello, everybody. Hi, Stacy. How are you? Hey, girl, I'm hanging in there. You and me both, okay? Because it was such a smooth sailing experience, and then out of nowhere you get this wave of emotion. I'm like, good old Cancer energy, just reminding us, like, this is wild. Before I begin, this is a donation based practice and session, so if you have the ability to donate, you totally can, and I deeply appreciate it. It does contribute to my livelihood. If you're unable to donate right now, you can always leave a review on one of my many EFT or meditations on the app to just help more people discover the space, okay? Hi! Yeah, Chris, look, let me tell you something. You're not the only one. Hi, Dawn, how are you? You're not the only one. We're going to chit chat about it a little bit today, but please remember, here we go. There we go. Please remember that on YouTube, well, I have the recording available for last week's Cancerian energy reading. And it's still really potent, very good for you to do. You can still tap into the practices and rewatch the last Lotus Hour, and it will help you to just kind of handle this experience that we're all seeming to have, because, yeah, it's crazy. What I wanted to do is just do a temperature check and just see how everybody's doing at first. Because, again, I know that if I'm feeling a lot of energy and overwhelm from the new moon in Cancer, and I tend to study these things and be decently prepared for them, I just want to make sure that you guys are doing good first. How's your heart? Rahana! Okay, how's your heart? How are you feeling? Again, this is a safe space. This is a space for practitioners, for caregivers, educators, an opportunity for you to be put first, because you do this so often where you are constantly taking care of your community. So how can we support your heart today? If anyone has something that they need to share, we'll give some time for that. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to do a quick reminder of the last cards we pulled last week. I know that one of these was in reverse, but I can't remember which one, but it's okay because it's in the replay. But we had the meditate and contemplate, the Pisces new moon, right? We definitely were getting that water energy heavy last week. And that was all about reminding ourselves to meditate before we lean into thinking, so that we do not overthink, and also so that we do not just impulsively act on the emotions. And I just want to reiterate that for this week, especially with this Cancer energy making you feel very emotional. And when we're deeply emotional, we're like driven to make moves, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't want to sit with all of this emotion, right? You might have been, I know for me, I was thinking of just like past relationships, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to like contact this person, let them know how I feel. And I'm like, actually, no, girl, you don't need to do that. Put the phone down. Why don't we breathe? Why don't we get into some water, took a nice little shower, right? Like, why don't we do these things? Because no, it's not necessary for your healing. Like, you don't need to reopen something that you lovingly closed simply because you're upset right now, right? So, like, if these are the things that might be coming up for you, just remember to meditate first. Sit with yourself. Be okay with the feeling of overwhelm and emotion too. I know that sounds really crazy to say, but like, you're feeling these things to feel them. Like, they're coming up because the new moon is asking them to come up. Remember, the moon was in Cancer and so was the sun. So that's a lot of water energy, a lot of emotions running through. It was just that opportunity for you to practice reparenting yourself, right? For you to make sure that you're good. Not for you to hold other people accountable to the way that they should be treating you, because ultimately people are going to do what they want to do. This is really more about you and how you're going to show up and take care of yourself, right? So then we also had take time out to breathe. I mean, self-explanatory, luckily. For everyone who was able to watch the reading earlier, like last week, hopefully you were able to, there we go, use these cards, because they're very helpful. And then we had believe in the impossible. Remember that ultimately your dreams are possible. You are possible, right? And these are just things to keep in mind, because when we are dealing with heavier emotions, it almost feels like, what's the point, right? Especially when there are harder things in life that we end up having to experience. I want you to practice believing in yourself, believing in the moment, believing in your source over what it is that you're experiencing in that moment. Simply just to give you some type of relief, first and foremost, but also to build up your stamina and your endurance to handle life's curveballs, okay? All right, I'm gonna go through and read. One of the hardest weeks. Ay, Dios mío. Cancer energy, y'all. Out of the water signs, I think Cancer energy is the hardest for me to navigate. Usually Cancer season like really is hard for me, but it hasn't been. It's just like yesterday was really intense. But I totally understand that, Rahana. Okay, I've been dealing with something like nothing else I've ever been through before. A friend, coworker took her own life. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear this. Laura, that is a very hard experience to have. First and foremost, thank you for being vulnerable in this space, and for everyone else to, if it's triggering for you, let me know, okay? Because like, again, the purpose of being a trauma-informed practitioner is to hold space. I do know that in certain places it is early, but I do want people to be able to feel safe enough to talk about the heavier things that they're experiencing, because we're caregivers, because we're educators, because we're practitioners. So if at any moment in time that feels triggering, please let me know. It's okay to say, okay, this is a bit heavy for me, in the comments, so that I can, rearrange space, or you can reach out to me DM afterwards too. I want to make sure that it's safe for everyone first and foremost, but I also want to make sure that people feel safe enough to share these things. So this is real life, right? These are the things that happen. Like, this also happens in life, and I never want it to be where you feel like you can't share it, It's just this delicate dance of being a trauma-informed practitioner of like, yes, I do want to be able to hold space for things like that, and I also want to make sure that other people feel safe and not triggered by that particular experience being expressed. Yeah. So if you feel a little overwhelmed by anything that happens today, especially because we are all very more hypersensitive with this Cancer new moon, feel free to DM me, okay? Laura, for you, I'm sending you so much love. That is an extremely difficult experience to have. The layers of the feelings from like, should I have done more? Did I know to do more? Like, what was the support? Could I have been more supportive? We tend to question ourselves when tragedies happen, especially people who are more sensitive and just, we're a little bit more tapped and tuned in of like, did I do enough? Was I being supportive? And my hope is that you're not going through that. Hopefully you're not having those experiences of guilt. But if you are, I want to just hold space for you and tell you that what you're feeling is valid, because it's your feelings, right? And to remember to take really good care of yourself, especially when experiencing something so heartbreaking. We can tend to be like kind of compartmentalized, right? Or we tend to let it sit on our chest. And then we carry this weight almost in a way of like adding it to our mourning, if that makes sense. So if that is something that you're experiencing, hopefully you'll feel a bit more relief at the end of this hour. And if not, then let me know, because grief is hard, okay? Okay, finally getting over this toxic relationship and adjusting to new diagnosis. Courtney, I love this for you. I'm so happy. I know that was a very tough and long journey for you. And once we get that space of detachment from something that felt so unhealthy, we get to finally breathe again and gain some sense of, lack of a better word, just control. It's not really the word I want to use, but the word that I want to use is not coming to mind right now. But I am really happy to hear that you have some space between you and that dynamic, and you're able to refocus back on your own well-being. That's super important, right? Yes, Laura, we're sending so much love. I've been rehashing with you too. Sam, same. And mind you, there's no need for me to be doing this. It's not like I didn't come to peace with this dynamic. It just simply was the moon. The moon was making me feel like, you need to go back and essentially, like, you know, start some shit, right? Essentially. And not necessarily, let me not blame the moon because that's a little bit irresponsible. The energy that was coming up from the Cancerian energy is like, okay, well, these are wounds that maybe you thought you tended to, but you didn't tend to them in like a motherly way, right? So here's your opportunity to reparent. So like you probably went through this emotion in more like a hardcore way of like, you know what? It was what it was. It's totally fine. I'm gonna be okay. I'm just gonna keep going. And Cancerian energy is like, but was it fine? But are you actually okay? And not in a condescending way, but more in a way of take the time out that you need to address the feelings that you're having, right? And do them now while the cosmos are supporting you, as opposed to waiting until like you explode one day, right? Because like that's completely unnecessary to do. And you have the skill set, you have the space to do so, right? We have community, whether it's here, whether it's in the garden, you have the space and the support to be able to say, this is the heavy thing that I have been carrying and has been weighing on me emotionally, and I would like to put it down, and I need some support in doing that, right? As a caregiver, as an educator, as a leader in your community, it's very easy for you to slip into a space where you feel like you have to carry everything because who else is going to carry it? No one else is equipped, or you don't want to burden other people. And I really want us to get out of that notion of ever thinking that we could really be a burden. Even if somebody calls you a burden, like even if someone says that to you, you're not a burden, right? We're simply just humans navigating life, and life can be very complicated at times, or at least complicated for us to comprehend, right? These are just things to keep in mind, okay? Yes, exactly what Jack said. Please be gentle with yourself right now. I could not agree more. Yeah, please be gentle with yourself. And that goes for everyone, okay? That was me yesterday. Wow, we're all feeling it, Malone. Priscilla, you're not alone. I promise you. Yesterday was just like this influx of insane emotion. Okay, thank you guys for your support and love. Of course, Laura, I was feeling guilt in the beginning, but then I learned that um, bothers and has given loan some. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's instant. It's the thing that we do as caregivers. We instantly think like, dang, what could I have done? I should have done more. And it's like some people are here to experience life in the way in which they are experiencing it. And I know that that can sound very insensitive of like, well, you know, like I'm also here to help them. Like we're in the same journey, the same path. And like it's a yes and a no, right? We don't necessarily know what someone's journey was here on earth. We have no idea what they were meant to experience. That's between them and their source, right? All you can do is be as kind and as loving as you possibly can in that moment, and trust that that is enough for whatever experience it is that they need to have, and that if you needed to give or do more, that you would have given and done more. Because carrying on that type of guilt, it weighs you down, it slows you down, and it makes you more incapable of showing up in the future for other people who you have the skill set and the capacity to provide for, okay? Um, yes, narcissists are real and hard to break from. Yes, but feeling a little bit more free each day. Yeah, yeah. Relationships with a narcissist is very difficult. Good evening. Hi, Eleanor. How are you? Also, is Kelly here? Did you guys see Kelly's name? I didn't see Kelly. If not, I need to DM her, just check in. Courtney, I heard you. Dad. Yeah, my mom was too. Jack. Yeah, it's a very intense relationship. Being raised by a Leo who has narcissistic tendencies. I'm trying to take care of myself so that I don't spiral down. Laura, I'm so happy that you showed up today because this is definitely going to be a space that helps you, and you're getting that added support from your community. So I'm really in awe of you because it's so easy for us to isolate ourselves, especially after such a tragedy. And I'm just in awe that you chose to show up to just get a little extra love and care. Okay? Thank you, Lotus. Feels like we're all collectively breathing easier right now. Dawn, that's the plan. That's the plan. Hi, you are not late at all, Bentley. How are you? Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not much you could have done, babes. There's not much. Yeah. Of course, of course. That's why I created this space, you know? And to be fully transparent, I woke up this morning and I felt horrible, like worst night's sleep ever. And I was just sitting there journaling and I'm just journaling out my feelings. And I'm like, I know that this is just a moment, but this moment sucks right now. Like, I know that this is just a moment, but I really don't want to be in this moment. If I'm being quite honest with you, I don't want to be in this moment. And just journaling that out helped me so much because it's just a moment. And sometimes the moment feels like it's going to go on forever, especially when you're dealing with grief, especially when you're dealing with the heavier emotions. Um, it's so interesting because the heavier emotions feel like they'll never end. And then like the lighter ones, like joy, like bliss, you're kind of wondering when they're going to end, but that's just how we're conditioned. That's just how we wired our brains. But even in the work that you do, as fulfilling as it can be, as loving as the community is, it can still feel very much like this is, my feelings are heavy and this is a lot and I don't want to navigate it. I don't want to do the practices. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to show up. But I commend everyone who chose to show up and hold space for themselves and for each other today, including myself. Because it's so easy to just kind of cancel and be like, you know what, emotionally I'm just not there and it just is what it is. And there are some times where you need to honor that truth. But it's nice to know that we have this level of discipline to still show up for each other and to show up for ourselves so that we can start our week off feeling a little lighter. We don't have to carry what we experienced last week into this upcoming week. You don't have to carry what you went through yesterday into today. These are choices that we don't necessarily actively make all the time. And the goal is to become more aware of ourselves and more aware of our journey so that we can make active choices. So we can sit there and say, you know what, though I feel this way and this way feels very heavy, I know showing up in community today is going to help me. So even if I'm just there and I'm maybe not participating as much or maybe my energy is a little bit lower, I'm just going to show up because I know that I'm going to feel taken care of just being in the space. Or at least I'm going to know that I'm not alone, right? We're all talking about how we're all dealing with this heavy emotion from different parts of the world for different reasons entirely, right? And we're coming together in a safe space to just be like, what was that about? That was crazy. Did not like that, right? And it's not, or hopefully it's not overwhelming anyone. It's just also letting people know like this is sometimes a part of life. We all know this as caregivers, as educators, as practitioners. Like sometimes life is messy and heavy, but at least this time we're not going through it alone, right? Here we go. Hi, Cherry Berry. I love your name. This is beautiful. Team No Sleep here last night too. I did not enjoy Priscilla. I was just like, what is happening? Was not a fan at all. If I could go back to sleep after this, I would, but I have things to do today, so maybe later. The gremlins have been tormenting me in my rest too. Rahana, I was just like, I can't do this. I need to sleep. Ah. Oh, yeah, it happens, Cherry Berry. Yes, exactly, Jerry Joe. How are you? How are you? Yeah, we're all here to witness. Yeah, the goal is to be the observer, right? The goal is to bear witness. Is not to attach ourselves to these experiences, but to bear witness to them. And not like in a very cold, disassociating way, but detachment is a really powerful spiritual law that allows us to witness without being right up on it. Where it's more of here's what I'm experiencing as opposed to here's what I am, and attaching these heavier feelings also as well as like, you know, the lighter ones to our identity. We are here to observe, right? We are a soul having a human experience. These heavier experiences are a part of that humanity, right? But when we're able to bear witness and have a sense of detachment, we don't lose our sense of selves. We don't lose our sense of divinity in our humanity. They're meant to be like, the best way I can put it is like the infinity sign, right? There's a point in which they meet and then they have their separation as well. and then they coexist, and then they separate again. And this just reminds us of what we are here to do with our humanity and our divinity. Okay? Let me see. Yes. Hi, Makwan. How are you? Let's see. Yes. I have never woke up so early on Sunday and I didn't sleep well last night, but I made sure to show up here to hear your words. Tanya, I'm so grateful that you're here with me. This brings me validation as well, because I definitely was just like, me waking up, I don't know if I want to do this, but I knew that being here with you all would help. So I'm happy we both have the same notion. Being in love with my self-esteem up. Yes, that is exactly what it would do. That's like literally one of the main things that happens. And that's due to like a power struggle, a power dynamic. And I really feel like, Courtney, what book did we talk about for you reading? I feel like it was Energy Medicine. But there's also another book called Spirit of the Anatomy by Caroline Myss. I'm looking for it to see if I can, because I was just reading it. But she breaks down like what happens when we're in unhealthy relationships, and how, especially when there's a dynamic where someone has narcissistic tendencies or is diagnosed as narcissistic, like the way in which our energy works. And it's super important to just kind of know what that looks like, because it also gives you an opportunity to realize how you can cut the cord and, you know, re-establish your own boundaries and energy, right? And the book Celestine Prophecy talks about this too. They do it in a more like cool sci-fi kind of way. But essentially, when you're in a dynamic with someone else and they're not respecting boundaries, or they're not respecting themselves, they tend to want to force energy and like suck the energy from that other person. And you're feeling that happening as you're being drained, right? But they actually show you like the visuals so you can see it happening, like the colors that happen, seeing someone's aura. Essentially, one aura is more dominating than the other. And that's where you get power struggles in relationships. That's where one person begins to feed on another person energetically. And it's not just like 4 stories, it literally does happen all the time. That's why it's important to strengthen your aura, just in general, like on a day-to-day, because you have no idea who you're going to encounter when you're outside, and what is it they're going through. And just strengthening your aura helps you so much. And you can do that in so many different ways. One, by being hydrated. I'm just throwing that out there, you guys know. Another way is by tapping, right? Connecting your energy back strengthens your aura, right? Meditating helps with that as well. These are all ways for us to practice reestablishing our energy, so the next time that we engage in a thought or engage with a person, we're able to say, you know what, you can feel like you want to be dominating in your energy. However, that's not what's going to happen here, right? And the more that you tap in, the more that you tune in, you can actually feel it. There are times where I'm with people and I can feel that they want to engage with me, in the sense of, I need energy to feed off of, and you're the next clearest person for me to do that with. But because I work on my aura, they're not able to have that experience with me because I don't engage. And that's a practice. It's a practice I've had a lot of years doing. Okay? Let me check and see what's happening. Here we go. The Spirit of the Anatomy. I'm trying to read the rest of the comments, but for whatever reason, this is slowing down. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, okay. I don't know a lot about my birthday is this month, which makes my birth sign Cancer. So you're probably, just a general understanding of like how the zodiac tends to work. Because you are a sun Cancer, you're probably a bit more sensitive around this time, more tapped in and tuned in. But I also like to think, because you have that level of sensitivity, that you are able to really use the energy to be transformed, right? So like during Scorpio season, because not only am I Scorpio sun, but I have 3 other placements in Scorpio, I feel that hard, okay? And I have to really remind myself it's an opportunity for me to lean into the theme in which Scorpio is, which is all about death and rebirth, right? That is the purpose of a Scorpio's energy, is to transform. So I allow myself to be transformed in that dynamic. even if it's a little harder, because that's what the cosmos are in support of me doing. And as opposed to me resisting it and creating more contrast, more than I'm already feeling naturally, it just makes sense to kind of go with the flow in your season. So yeah, that would be the best way for me to explain it so that it applies to all signs. But as a water sign, stay hydrated during your birthday season, first and foremost. Definitely spend some time in your element, whether that's like going to a lake or standing out in the rain or taking a shower or taking a nice bath. These are all ways to help you feel balanced in the season, and this can be applied to anybody for any zodiac season you're in. But if you're feeling overwhelmed by this season in particular, work with water, or you work with its opposite, which which is fire. So you can like maybe do like a candle lighting, or go outside in the sun and warm yourself up. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Jack, it's so selfish, draining. I almost got lost sight of myself in an exact cycle. People can be so mean. Yeah. Nice to see friends drifting in bubbles. I'm just catching up with everybody. Thank you, Tanya, for dropping the name of the book. I appreciate you. Yes, I agree, Tanya. Yes, you can heal your life. All those books, all the books that I ever speak about are always linked in the email. So you can always just go straight to the email and grab the book from there too, okay? Um, yes. Amy! Amy, are you here? I didn't see your name. If you're here, hi. Hi, Nikki. How are you? Hi, Julie. Oh, yes, water signs. I know, Jack. I said the same thing. I was like, is Amy here? A drowning while pretending they can swim, but they also scrambling. Yeah, 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 yeah. Heading to the lake now. That's good to hear, Marquand. Like, that's what we need, right? Yes. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Just in, and I want to just keep that in mind too. I was actually watching this episode of the show called The Bear. I don't know if people have seen it, but it was an intense episode. It was very overwhelming for me. I'm a very sensitive person. So witnessing that type of display of, there are different forms of violence. And we're not going to get too deep into this because, again, we're all very sensitive right now. But when someone's mental health is unchecked, when someone grows up in an unsafe environment, and they have no level of support or awareness that that's what they're going through, and just almost is normalized, and then they grow up and they engage with other people, they tend to carry that with them. This is not an excuse at all, because again, we're very grown, we're all adults. It really could just be a matter of Googling things and getting the support that we need. But when you experience that type of trauma, and like you're consistently being re-traumatized over and over again in that environment, especially at a younger age, it becomes so ingrained in your subconscious mind that you don't really understand what is happening or why you're doing what you're doing. And this just goes back to what Jerry Joe was talking about with people who have narcissistic tendencies, or the diagnosis itself. Especially if you have the diagnosis, that means that there's a mental health disorder, like there is a disorder in your mind, right? That is causing you. And I'm not sure if narcissism is chemically triggered or not. I would have to look that up. I know like bipolar disorder is chemically triggered, right? Like there's a chemical imbalance as to why you're behaving the way you're behaving. But either way, not having that level of awareness and then engaging with others, it tends to be very volatile. And the truth is they are drowning. They're drowning in whatever it is that they were giving to you that lives within inside them all the time. So the way that you may have felt when you were experiencing them, right? And how overwhelming it was just for you to get bits and pieces, essentially. Even if it felt like a constant stream, it's not everything that was inside them that they're carrying all the time. That is what they're carrying all the time. And this is, again, not in a way to validate someone's experience or say, hey, it's totally cool to do this because you went through trauma. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just simply saying we can still create space for our safety, as well as a level of just awareness. I'm not even gonna say empathy because I don't necessarily know if it's necessary for you to have empathy for an abuser, but just a level of, okay, one, so that you know it's not about you, that you did not do this to yourself, right? I did not ask for this type of dynamic. It's just simply if someone is carrying that and they've been carrying that for years and they end up finding someone who tends to be very loving or open, or they have their own wounds that they show up with, right? Of like, I want to show you that I can care, that I'm a gentle person. Um, they tend to spill out. And this is a dynamic that happens, right? But again, the insight that I would give is just to continue taking care of yourself as best as you can. Even it's less about you taking care of them and more about you taking care of you. Because you taking care of you will allow you to leave if you need to leave. Will allow you to set the boundaries that you need to set. That will allow you to get the support and the resources that you may need so that you feel safe. Because again, the other person you're engaging with is an adult. They're going to need that support and get that on their own through their own channels. That doesn't necessarily have to be you, even if you're in a romantic dynamic with them. Or even if you have like a family ship with them, right? That was one of the issues in the episode. The mom was undiagnosed and just extremely volatile and abusive with her words, with her body, and everyone around her kind of normalized that. Like, oh, you know, she's getting into one of her moods, and like lighten it up. But you could see the amount of trauma it gave to her children, and then seeing how they grew up in the show itself, you see why they are the way that they are. It was a very heartbreaking episode. But for people who are experiencing dynamics similar to that, it's so important to take care of yourself. I just cannot reiterate that enough. Okay. I'm gonna go through the comments and then we're gonna do a quick card pull and the meditation. Okay. Ginger, TJ, hello. Yes, how was the test? Okay, I love that. High 80s is always good. We love this. Yes, it is. It's a deep disorder. I agree. Hi, Ginger. Yes, my mother's narcissistic. Same Kelly. Same Nikki, excuse me. They do not have empathy and are the most insecure people, but you would never know many childhood traumas. Yes, yeah. It's just like glitching every once in a while. It probably is, Laura. I'm not going to hold you because it's glitching for me. But the replay is not glitching at all. Yeah, Sia, same, yeah. Like, it's glitching for, I don't know, for the platform, but it's not glitching on the other platform, so. Yeah, you're not wrong on that, Laura. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. I agree with you, Jack. The problem is we want to jump in and save them, but they can pull you under. They want the world to change, not them. It hurts, but you never jump in. You should not jump in, right? Especially if someone is wading out into the depth of the ocean on their own. That is for them and their source to navigate. I think that's very important. Yes, I agree. TJ is phenomenal. I found out as an adult that my mom was a narcissist, but I worked a lot on forgiving her, but it still can be sad. I have 4 siblings and 2 of them did not go to the funeral. She passed. Tanya, yeah, that's rough. Yeah. I'm my mother's only child, so it was a part of my journey to work on the forgiveness part for myself. I love her, but I have to figure it out. As an adult, you can't change the behavior, and she's forever stuck at 84. I have to learn to deal with her. She gets frustrated that she cannot gaslight me. And that's okay. She's allowed to be frustrated. I think that's something else that we forget too. It's like how they respond, they're allowed to respond that way. You just don't have to engage in it, right? Quite often we're just like, I know that I'm a good person and I have a big heart and I can't understand why you would want to treat me this way. And the truth is, it's not for us to understand. It's not for us to comprehend why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. For so many reasons, right? But it's very important for us to remember to take care of ourselves in those dynamics. So here's a perspective that I want to give. Actually, give me 1 second. I think I'm going to take out my light. 1 second, guys. Because I think that might be what's slowing down the live. Maybe it's just a lot of energy coming from one source. So let's see. First. 1 second. I'm going to plug this up somewhere else. Okay. Let's see. 1 second, okay, guys? Okay, let's see if this helps. Since it's no longer in my computer, maybe this will stop it from doing that. Okay, because it's a little distracting. Okay, so here is a point of view that I would love to share with you all. And hopefully that helps. If you're just kind of like, that's a great point of view, Lotus, but that's not going to help me, totally understandable, okay? When I often think about the dynamic that I have with my own mother, right, and given the experiences that we've had together in our dynamic, I could always see that there was a call for me to take care of myself. To be in a dynamic with someone who has narcissistic tendencies, the two options that you're normally presented with is either to overcompensate and love them to an extreme that is very harmful to both them and you, by the way, or it's an invitation for you to take care of yourself, because you're literally seeing firsthand what it looks like when you don't, right? You're seeing it up close and personal. When I'm not aware of myself, when I am so disassociated from reality, this is what it could look like for me. I'm not enjoying this dynamic. This does not feel safe at all. So I'm going to choose to use this relationship as an invitation and take care of myself. And then begin that journey of what that looks like. Off the top of my head, that might just be first and foremost disengaging in that relationship, but that might be very hard. It took me a very long time, because you tend to build deep bonds with people that are extremely self-centered, right? Because you also notice that maybe other people don't really see their true essence or the softness that they can display from time to time. And I know quite often we're told that that softness is a manipulative tactic, and it probably is, but that softness still does exist within them. It's just something that they cannot access often. It literally is fleeting for them in their mind and in their energy, right? When I change my perspective like that, in that dynamic in particular, with my mom, I was able to do so much more that felt safer for me. First and foremost, I was able to create distance and space, because that's a hard experience being someone's child and feeling like I need space from you when you're often conditioned by society to not do that. It takes a lot of courage and practice and confidence. And after that, it helped me to build empathy. It helped me to look at her as a human being. And I want to be very clear about what I'm saying when we're talking about building empathy, right? Empathy does not mean that it is me saying it's okay for you to treat me the way that you did given your circumstances and your experiences. It's not what it is. It is an act of witnessing someone's humanity, because they're still human. even if they act in very inhumane ways, they're still human. And when I was able to do that with my own mom and create a level of empathy and just be aware of like, okay, the amount of support and resources that I have access to were absolutely not relevant for her when she was my age. And when she was my age, she had a 1-year-old, right? On top of being in the dynamic she was in with my father, on top of being a black woman in this country, there are so many layers as to why she behaved the way that she did as she got older and as I got older. This does not excuse her behavior, but it does allow me to not have to harbor such deep resentment or hate in my body for her, because that's not healthy either. And that is essentially me still engaging in that relationship. And when I made the choice that I was still going to have my mom be a part of my life, I had to do it with a set of boundaries for myself. And one of those boundaries is for me to have empathy, is for me to pull back when I need to, and to remember her humanity, to remember that before she was my mother, she was a woman that existed and had an entire life that I'll never know about in detail. And that in that life could have been things that were completely traumatic for her that she may never be able to make peace with. And I cannot imagine what that would feel like for myself, but I can only think that it would be such an overwhelming experience, especially if it gets to the point where I'm willing to be unsafe to my child. I don't know what that would feel like. I don't necessarily ever want to find out, to be quite honest. But just having that level of awareness creates a sense of empathy for her humanity. It also creates an incredible strength within me to know that I am still able to protect and honor my boundaries and protect myself, right? Still allowing myself to be a soft person, because I don't want to have a hard heart. My goal is not to be tougher in life. I never enjoyed that as a child, like toughen up. I'm like, no thank you. I'm good. I like being a soft person. I like being a loving person. And if I'm going to continue to be soft and loving in the world that we live in, it's going to require a deep level of awareness and empathy, so that way I'm able to still remain me while engaging with others at whatever state they may be in their journey. And when you are a caregiver, when you're an educator, when you're a practitioner, it does require a softer heart. And it's no coincidence that so many of us have similar stories and similar patterns, because we're getting the same invitation, right? Of like, take care of ourselves first. The invitation is not to take care of them. That's never the invitation. I don't know how we always get to that point, but I think it's just conditioning from society. The invitation is never to take care of that person. I don't know. I can't say it. It's never take care of them. One, because most times the person that you're talking about, you're engaging in this unhealthy dynamic, has taken care of themselves or has found other people who are willing to do that. It does not have to be you. Just because you love and you care for them does not mean that you have to go and support them, especially when supporting them is harming you, right? It's an invitation for you to take care of yourself, because you can see what happens when you don't. And taking care of yourself, knowing that you can still have a soft heart but still show up and have discipline and have skill set to hold space for other people, can prevent other people from getting to that place in which your partner has gotten to, right? Your partner could be your mom, your dad, your lover, whatever it is. But that's what I choose to focus on, right? That still holds me accountable. It's not spiritual bypassing. It's not toxic positivity. It's honest. It's honesty. Humanity is messy. People go through shit, and it turns them into people that they've never even thought that they could ever turn into. I'm choosing not to hold that against them, but I'm also making sure that I feel very safe in myself so that I can continue to give and be a loving person. They're not going to stop that simply because of how they're behaving. And again, that's years of therapy, that's years of practice, that's years of ritual, that's years of ancestral work speaking. But I do feel like that is a true statement. Okay, I'm gonna go through the comments. Okay. Priscilla, like a family. Yes, yes, I found out. It was only possible to comprehend, forgive, and finally have empathy for my narcissistic, abusive father years after he died. Needless to say, I'm catching up. I'm still healing. Yeah, we're always still healed. That's the beautiful thing about, we're never gonna be healed. I would love to tell y'all that we're gonna be healed, but like, that's not the case. Jack, this is actually not me this time. This is just the platform itself. I mean, Sia, are you having any glitches on this platform? Let me know. Yeah, for a while I thought he really cared until I learned he was learning my mental space so he could bounce. Yeah, it's a survival tactic for them as well. And as a parent, to make sure we don't do the same to our children, knowing the impact it has on us. Exactly, Tanya. Agreed. I love that perspective. My 10-year relationship with the narcissist was a wake-up call for a huge change in my life. Exactly. You're so precious. Choosing to care for ourselves is such a necessary reminder. It is. It is. Hi, Siobhan. How are you? Yes, you get so involved in that person. It brings you down, gives you wrinkles, and you have to get Botox because you know how wrinkles take care of you first. You know what, TJ? Yes. Yes. Laughing at the topic of your delivery. I love your Lotus, that ain't it. Pass on it. Yeah. I get to that space where I was like, yeah, still it's a no, but I understand that. Yes. Amazing what you're saying now, Lotus, about your mom and you. Yeah, I love my mother very much. I don't think I could have ever. Yeah, see, it's the platform. There's no glitches on this side. Okay, I just want to make sure. But yeah, I love my mother very much. The amount of things she had to sacrifice in her life for me to have a decently good one. The amount of pain and heartbreak she went through by herself, without sisterhood, without community, without platforms like this ever existing, without this type of knowledge being accessible to her. It makes me very emotional. Because I know what I go through, and I have sisterhood, and I have community, and I have the techniques, and I have the books, and it still feels very heavy. So it does create a level of empathy in my heart for her, of like, I'm so sorry you had to have that experience. However, you cannot take that out on me, right? Two things can be true at the same time, of you having a deep level of empathy for someone and having very profound boundaries. Not barriers, but boundaries. If I can witness your pain and not have to engage with it, both can be true. My love for my mother is overwhelming, despite the experiences that we had growing up. It doesn't change the fact that I loved her, that I do love her, and I will continue to love her. But I don't let that love blind me for me to get harmed again, right? I honor both experiences. And it's not an easy thing at all. But it's a necessary one. Okay? Okay, I'm catching up, guys. Yes. I have done that journey with my mom, now looking at her with empathy. Hi, Michelle. Suffered such intergenerational trauma. I no longer expect her to behave the way I think she should. It has become so much easier to have a relationship with her. Agreed. Yes, we owe it to our inner child to give ourselves the protection we desire and deserve. Yes. Your story and healing from narcissistic parents sounds like I'm speaking. Tanya, there's no coincidence that we find each other. I refuse to believe it. Yeah. Oh, Jack, thank you. Yes, girl. Well said. Having a soft heart is good and bad in the same way. It's good. Having a soft heart. Having a soft heart with no boundaries is a bad thing. Having a soft heart with no boundaries is going to put you in dynamics and spaces that are going to be harmful and traumatic for you, right? But having a soft heart and boundaries, it is an experience that I want more of us to have. And it's as soothing as it is stretching in the experience. Because there are times where my soft heart is like, let's override these boundaries though, so that we can just give more love. And I have to be like, we can give more love to myself or to the healthy dynamics in which I'm engaging with. I'm totally down to do that. But there's a boundary here, and that boundary is going to be respected because it is extremely important for me to feel safe in my body and in this environment and in this dynamic. That's why the boundaries are there, to keep me safe. Boundaries have nothing to do with the other person. I say this all the time. I know that for whatever reason, the discourse around boundaries makes it seem like you're keeping other people out. That's not the case. Boundaries are for you. Boundaries keep me and my soft heart very safe, right? I look at boundaries like a fence. Think about a yard with a cute little picket fence. My fence is my boundaries. It's not a barrier. They're not brick walls where I can't see what's happening on the outside, right? And I get to see who's coming up and be like, oh, you know what? You feel pretty safe. You can come inside, right? You get a little closer. It's totally fine for you to play in my yard. Let's go to the kitchen, right? That's how I view boundaries. I make it a very visual experience for me. If it's someone that I'm just like, stay at the fence. The gate is closed. Do you need something? Okay, cool. And then I can respond appropriately. But you're not coming in. No, like, this is for me. If I invite you in, then you're welcome to be there until you either do something that makes you no longer need to be there, or it's time for your journey to be somewhere else. But yeah, having a soft heart with boundaries is ideal. I appreciate it because it allows me to be in spaces like this with you all. It allows me to have healthy relationships. And the truth is, when you have those boundaries in place, you tend to attract people who naturally respect those boundaries. I can't tell you the last time someone has like breached the boundary in my life. I really can't tell you. Maybe outside of like my previous relationship, but I also think that was just because it needed to end. But and even in that wasn't like a disregard for my boundaries. It was just, I felt almost like a meter, almost like an alarm, like we're getting close, right? They're getting really close to that boundary. I don't let you cross it. I just have a nice little like warning sign. I speak my truth and say, hey, it looks like we're about to cross a boundary here, and it's not something that we want to do. Personally, I don't want this experience. And if it's something that they are just unable to do, then I have to give space to that relationship, because I'm not going to let you get to the point where you cross my boundaries. That's where I'm at in my journey. I'd much rather give space before you do something that you can't come back from, because I also know myself enough to know that if a boundary is crossed, I'm not in that space of being like okay with it afterwards and being like things happen, it's okay. It's that I love you from a distance now, and that is what it is. So things to think of, things to think about, and to travel with. Okay. Spiritual Botox available on your site. That is hilarious. I feel like that would actually do really well in marketing, and that's also kind of disturbing, right? Okay. Yes, having a soft heart with yes. Tanya, same here. It's amazing how crucial topic arises. Lotus seems to speak directly to it. Thank you, Jack. Motivated me to be the best mom to my 2 boys. Tanya, I love this. I love this. Oh, I love that so much. I also have to figure out when I'm disappointed with someone, it is generally because I was expecting a different outcome than they were able to deliver. Exactly, Michelle. Again, it usually has really nothing to do with them. And you know what I mean? So it's like, this is what I was expecting. And our expectations are wildly inaccurate most of the time. Because again, the unknown is so true. We have no idea. My invitation hit me hard after taking care of everyone else. 21 years of marriage, kids dealing with behaviors that don't serve me. I'm so glad to be able to focus on me. Marquand, I'm happy you're focusing on yourself as well. Yes. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Lotus, you seem to always grab big themes and speak over them with power. Thank you. I've had a lot of experience. I'm exhausted today, yet how you always put fire in my spirit. I'm eternally grateful. Siobhan, I love you. It's not the destination, not the journey. Yes. I'm catching up on all the comments. It's so funny. Thank you guys for being so patient with me. Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on anyone. Oh, thank you. I love my mom, and she was an only child, and she had 5 kids. Yeah, by the time she was 25, she couldn't handle it. Yeah, that sounds insane. Like I can't process that type of life, right? My healing now to be the mother I needed for my inner child, returning almost daily to give them my love and care. Michelle. Yes, boundaries are not barriers by Lotus Hello, but yeah, they're not. Barriers are a whole different thing, and they're super unhealthy, and they cause a real bad sense of dissociation. I'm never talking about that, but I'm talking about boundaries. Never. How about Lotus' eyes changing right before she hits a hard topic? Oh, thank you. Tanya say that motherhood was an absolutely different game for many of our and their mothers. Agreed. Like, motherhood is no joke. Like, to be a mom, man. To be a parent, jeez Louise. Craziness. Soft heart. With boundaries. Yes, yes. My grandmother says my monkey, but not my circus. I know that's right. Oh my goodness, I am big bulky bouncer at my gate. Yes, exactly, Michelle. I have a clipboard and your name is not on it. Exactly. Yeah, treat your like a VIP room. There's so many different ways to envision it, but it's like I don't have to engage with you, and I have to remind myself of that too, because there are some times where I want to engage. There are some times where like I'm just like, you know what? Maybe you don't know who it is that you're dealing with, who you're talking to, right? And sometimes you are that person. Sometimes you are the right one in that day. But I do my best not to engage. I just one because it's exhausting for me. I get really mad when my boundaries are crossed. Today I got something ready and my friend did the same thing after I said I was done. It got me really mad and my boundaries were crossed way too far. Maybe it's my anger issues. I would sit with that and see why that bothered you as much as it did, right? Was it the person that did it? Was it the action? Those are two different things too, right? Nikki, you're so welcome. Hi, Jen. How are you? Yes. Yeah, yeah. People call me Low. I don't know if I ever told anybody this, but yeah, that's like one of my nicknames. It's totally fine. So can I still? Okay, we're all caught up. Perfect. Okay, I know we're at an hour. I'm gonna do a quick little reading, and then we're gonna do like a 5-minute meditation. But I'm so glad we had this heart to heart today, and I hope that people are feeling a little lighter, okay, or just a little bit more seen and supported, right, in your journey. Because I think it's important for us to remember these things of like boundaries are super important. Allowing ourselves to feel these deep emotions are really important. Remembering too that we get to rewrite the story, right? So instead of it being where, okay, this thing was like really harmful for me, that could still be accurate. And it can also be where, you know what, I realize now in hindsight it was an invitation for me to focus on myself. Because that's usually what it is. Whenever you're going through something that feels misaligned or heavy or harmful, it normally means that you're not really focused on yourself. It's almost like the universe's way of saying, hey, you're going on the wrong highway. Like, why are you going down this highway? This is not where we're going. This is not our journey. We never agreed to this, right? And then we get to remember, like, oh wow, I was about to go into a whole different space and world when I didn't have to. It's often like, just focus back on yourself when we get lost in other people's experiences and drama. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see what our card reading is for. Okay, this is sweet and fun. We have a nice little mix of energy. The first card that we have is Balance, Spirituality, and Practicality, Full Moon in Pisces. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys here. Let's see. Yeah. Me and my YouTuber hands. Okay. I love this because the full moon is illuminated, and this is something that is a big theme for this week. I don't like to use the word balance because balance kind of triggers perfectionism, like 50-50. That's not a real thing. But I like to use the word harmony, right? Because harmony could be 80-20, 70-30. The point is that we equal to 100, and that's the importance. But balance, spirituality, and practicality. Find the harmony between your spiritual practice and your spiritual being and practicality, right? But again, I want you to remember in how they said this. Spirituality is first, then practicality, okay? Emotion before logic. I know that sounds really like dangerous. I feel like people would be like, girl, what are you saying? What do you mean? Lean into where your emotions are guiding you, especially under this Cancer energy, right? We're still in Cancer season. You'll still be feeling the effects of the Cancer moon. Lean into where is it inviting you to have a deeper spiritual practice or presence, right? And see what's there for you first. Then how can I make this a practical thing? Where's the logic behind it? A lot of times we go from logic first to spirituality, and I think we miss a lot of pieces in doing that, because spirituality is meant to be felt, where logic is where you think through things, right? Like I'm using my brain actively in this moment, but like spirituality is for you to feel, because you are a human being. It's an opportunity for you to be in the moment. So utilize this week of how can I be with spirit, with source, whoever you call on to, first. Because in me being with spirit first, in me communing with my divine source first, then from that overflow, right, from that higher frequency, I'll have a better practice to implement. It'll be a lot easier for me to navigate this world knowing that I have this type of support and this rejuvenation from source. Okay? The second card that we have is in reverse, so we know that's internal work for us. Okay? Your dreams need a practical plan. We've pulled this card a few times. Full moon in Taurus, another full moon. Okay? Got that beautiful prosperity here. Okay. Whatever it is that you've been dreaming about, it needs a plan. It needs pen to paper or pencil to paper for those that know, right? Write it out and see what it is that you need to do. And this is really screaming for me personally, because there are goals that I would like to experience, and I know I need to write them down. I know that I do. But I want us to come back next week and say that we wrote down our plans. If you're in the garden, we're going to talk about goal setting. I'm going to drop a little note in there and share the importance of leaning in and writing out what is that we want to see. One manifestation practice that I used to do when I was modeling, my girlfriend had actually taught it to me, was I used to write in my day planner days that I wanted to model for gigs. Even though I didn't know when it was, I just put it in my calendar like, okay, I'm booked that day. And seeing it every day made it a reality, to the point where I got really good at it, where anytime I would write it out in my day planner, that day ended up being where I would be working as a model. And these are things that I did not know when I wrote it down. I just simply was putting it there, pencil to paper, and just saying like, yeah, I want to do like 4 gigs this week. I feel like that'd be cute. Just playing with the energy, being very light about it as well, right? It wasn't a serious matter of like, oh my God, if I don't get this, it's going to be horrible, because that energy doesn't bring about anything, but more of like a lower vibration. I was very playful about it. Like, it would be so cool if I had like 4 gigs, and like, oh my God, that'd be so cute. And being in that playful spirit, but also being practical and writing it down and seeing it every day and visualizing it every day, literally made space for the universe to provide me those opportunities, if not more, right? That's a really great way to practice writing out your goals if you don't necessarily know, or you don't want to do it in that traditional sense of like listing them out. Look at your calendar and see what you want to experience for this upcoming month. We're still in the beginning parts of July. What do you want to experience for the rest of July? What goals do you want to hit in your professional life and your personal life? Do you prefer your personal life first and then your professional life? Because remember, we want to lead with our humanity first. But that is the intention. We need a practical plan. That means it needs to be written out. Because planning up here and leaving it all up here is a recipe for disaster. There's so much happening in your brain all the time. Your brain is keeping your body alive, your organs running, your blood pumping. It has a lot on its plate. So the moment that you get to write it out on paper is the moment that you get to bring some more ease to your nervous system and to your mind. Your brain deserves that type of relief, so write it down, okay? And then the last card we have is confidence is key to your success, a new moon in Leo. So this is a new journey for us, okay? Look at that Leo energy, like it's just so glowy. Oh, wow. And this is the beginning, so all this is the unknown, the uncharted, the adventure, and we're at the silver lining here. And look out, I really want to be able to show you guys, but I feel like it's so bright. Here we go. Look at how the Leo is facing head first, like eyes staring you down, right? When we get energy like that in a card, it really speaks to having confidence, right? Being able to know that like what you're calling into your life is something that you're able to experience and have and sustain. Don't be meek about your desires. Don't kind of like waver on them like, oh, I kind of wish that I could. Like, speak with authority when you ask for things, especially from source or from the universe. Speak with authority. Speak like you have ownership over your life, because you do. Speaking from a space of meekness or timidness means that you're not ready for it, and you're not going to receive it, because the universe is not going to give you anything that you're not ready for. Source is not going to give you anything that you're not ready for. It has no desire to challenge and test us in the way in which we are taught, right? It really just wants to support us. And in order for us to feel supported, we have to support ourselves too, right? It's super important. So you do that by building up your confidence. Confidence is the key to your success. So what can you do this week that's going to build up your confidence? Maybe that's facing the triggers that you're experiencing from the Cancer new moon or the Cancer energy for the season that we're in. Maybe it's revisiting something that you wanted to do in the past and seeing how you can apply that now and having the confidence to show up and do it. Maybe it's having the confidence to get added support or resources on your wellness or spiritual journey. Whatever it is, I want you to take a big step this week towards building up your confidence, okay? Very important for you to do. You can also use EFT to build up your confidence. It's really helpful because, again, if our energy is connected, we're way more confident. This doesn't breed confidence. There's a lot of like, what the hell is going on? I'm scared. But when we are able to connect our energy again, take a nice deep breath and be in our body, feel embodied, it's so much more easier for us to feel prepared and ready for all of that unknown, all of that adventure. It changes our perspective and we're able to move forward in it with our heart leading us too, because Leo energy is a heart-led energy. I know people think it's an ego-led energy, but it's absolutely not, like, at all. Leos like have the biggest hearts. You want to lead with your heart first, and when you lead with your heart first, it changes your posture, right? It goes from it being kind of like a I'm not sure, I'm kind of closing my heart off, protecting it, to my heart's protecting me. Actually, my heart's aura is protecting me, and I'm going to show up in these spaces and be my most loving, kindest self. And either you're going to enjoy it with me, or it's going to irritate you and you're going to be annoyed by me, and I'm not going to care because I'm showing up in a loving way. And however you choose to process that is for you and your source to deal with, right? So that's our card pull for this week. Let me know which card really resonated with you. Again, we have balance, spirituality, and practicality. That Pisces energy. In reverse, we have the full moon in Taurus, your dreams need a practical plan. Right? Let's see if you guys. That Taurus energy too is staring you head on as well. Like, focus. And then we have the confidence is your key to success. Right? There we go. Let me know which card resonated with you, what message it is that you're going to sit with the most this week. For me, it's definitely my dreams need a practical plan. I've been practicing tapping into my spirituality first and then leaning into my practicality from last week's full of meditate before we contemplate. So I'm in a good space with that. And then rebuilding up my confidence. I'm a pretty confident person, naturally. But it's always nice to just kind of fortify that, especially when you're about to enter in like a new level or a new journey of life or a new desire. It's important to be confident in knowing that you would not have that desire if it was not meant for you to experience. Okay? I'm going to check in with you all here. Tashana, hello. Hi. Yeah, Siobhan, how did the interview go? Please let me know. My therapist is coming after me if I come back next week without the SMART goals. Yes, okay, well look, not only did your therapist tell you, but so did Spirit. Like, we need goals, Siobhan. Like, please reach out to me. We can totally figure this out together, okay? You're not alone. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, I had a really hard day yesterday and a horrible sleep. Priscilla saying. On top of it, I had a horrible head cold. I have a tendency to be an empath with no boundaries. This session really has been eye-opening for me. I'm so happy it has been eye-opening for you, Priscilla. Yeah, so important. Yes. Jackie crazy, I love this. Okay, Priscilla, what you just said really speaks to me, Lotus. I chose to engage with someone else's negative behavior yesterday, and I wasn't feeling myself on top of being sick. This session makes me feel like I have my power back, and now I'm going to ensure I have some healthy boundaries in place. I can usually try to disengage or not get caught up in it, but yesterday got me. This class makes me feel empowered today. That makes me so happy. Yeah, and remember, like, things happen, so, you know, if you engage every now and then, that's part of humanity. You're going to engage. Just make sure that you have the ability to take care of yourself afterwards, right? That's super important. I would love for us to get to a space that before we engage, we can really sit and be like, do I want to engage? Do I have the capacity to engage with this person? I have the desire to engage with this person, but where's that desire stemming from? Is it a need for me to protect myself? But protecting myself would really be me not engaging with them. Like, having this conversation beforehand is super important. Okay? And that's why we go from the spirit to the logic first, because when you're channeled into like your spiritual well-being or your divine source, the conversation is a lot different in your head, right? It's less ego driven, because again, the ego's a tool. It's not meant to lead, right? As opposed to it being where it's the reverse, and you're like, well, logically, if I don't tell them how I feel now, they'll never know. And if they don't know, then they'll never know how to treat me. They need to know how to treat me if they're going to be in my life. That's a super logical answer that is probably not going to get you the best results. Because what you're thinking about is what you expect them to do so that they can be around you. But when we start off with spirit first, with source first, and check in and come from our heart, the conversation is about us, right? Do I want to engage with this person? Does this feel beneficial to me? Am I trying to change this person or have them live up to expectations that I feel like they should live up to? These are the questions we begin to ask ourselves simply by switching around the direction of spirit to logic as opposed to logic to spirit. And I know people are going to be like, girl, why would you say that? But I stand by my statement. I think that logic should not be leading you. I think your spirit should be. I think your heart should be leading you. And I think that when we are showing up with that understanding first and understanding there's a second component, it's not just like lead with your heart and just go out into the world and live your best life. Though I would love that for you. That's not the life, that's not the world that we live in, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying let's start with our heart first. See how that's feeling for us. Once we've sat with that feeling and identified it, then we use that logic to put it into action and see what the results are. I can almost guarantee you that the results are going to be a lot better. Okay? Okay, let me get through these comments. Beautiful people. Beautiful people. Yes. Was a scam. But it led me exactly where I needed to be, and the lesson there was in y'all's messages of fun and self-worth. I love this for you, Siobhan. Starting back teaching this week after 2 months off and stepping into a course and the teacher started, needing to hear that message. I'm worried I won't measure up. I know that once I get in there, I'll be fine. Big Sunday scaries at the moment. Michelle, you're a phenomenal educator, and your class is going to adore the way that you show up and share this information. And if the other teacher was meant to do that, they would still be in that position and you would be somewhere else. It is actually that simple. I know that might sound a little like cold, but it's not. It's authoritative. You're a phenomenal teacher. I don't need to experience your class to know that. I can see in how you express yourself in the comments that you are a very caring and empathetic person, and kids need more of that. How you choose to express this to the children, to your students, whatever their age may be, is going to be incredible for them, because you're showing up with a level of heart that a lot of students need right now. Okay? I genuinely believe you're going to have an amazing time. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't. Okay? Hannah Oda, brilliant. Makes me think of Lo speaking of her nephew being fresh with the words, close to spirit. Yes. Oh my God, y'all. I'll share more information about Jack Jack in a later time, but that boy's out of control and I just love him every day. Oh my gosh. Confidence and motivation, dreams. Need a practical plan? Yes, Tashana. Michelle, you are the course. Exactly, Siobhan. Trust me, I have experienced it. They are so lucky that they get to have you to teach it. I could not agree more. Sorry, Alexa was like talking to me about something. Plug into my power. Yes, Michelle. Yes, Lotus is working with everyone's therapist. I'm doing my best, y'all. Poonam, how are you? How are you doing? Oh, great messages from the card. Almost all messages resonate with me. I love this. Okay. Yeah, Siobhan, author, Patrice. Oh, wow, that's so funny. I used to work with one of his understudies. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. Speaks about this in one of his books. Yeah, Patrice Valadoma. He says that babies and toddlers have a specific affinity for the elderly and vice versa. Yes, as they came into the world from the spirit. Yes, I just saw a TikTok on this too, Hannah. I'm gonna try to share it with you when I see it again. Oh my God, behind the way that just washed over my soul. Yes, yeah, Patrice Malindorma is amazing. Babies, yes. Yeah. Oh. Lotus brought tears to my eyes. I so needed that loving ass kick. Thank you. You're so welcome, Michelle. You're a rock star, okay? And I can say that confidently because I know that I'm a phenomenal teacher. I know that with all my heart because of the amount of passion and dedication I put into hosting spaces, the way that I study and show up, the way that I deeply care for my students. And I have such a strong belief and confidence in that aspect of myself that I can't fathom attracting somebody who's also an educator that is not on that same frequency. So I can speak to you with that level of confidence because I have a level of confidence in myself. And we are in a family ship, right? We are in a dynamic in a relationship. I just can't imagine you not having those same skill sets and capacity. I just can't. I can't process it, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to trust that um, what I said is coming from the heart and coming from the fact that I am fortunate enough to have a keen eye to know when an educator is really showing up as their fullest self, and I do believe that you do that. I hear how you talk about your students, even when you're not on break. Even when you're on break, excuse me, like you care deeply. And the fact that you even are thinking about showing up and making sure you're coming from a good space that's going to be fulfilling for them speaks volumes as to like how much you care and how lucky they are. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't imagine that not being the case. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Poonam. Yes, you are amazing. I would love to talk to you one-on-one. Courtney, thank you. Passion, dedication, and teaching. I am. That is one thing I can definitely say. Outside of being a really fantastic aunt, I am a phenomenal teacher. And it's taken me a lot of practice to be able to say that without any hesitation. I really believe that. I believe that that is what I was put here on earth to do. Sometimes it's very frustrating because, teachers' pay is not necessarily the greatest, especially within this country in particular. But I feel so fulfilled every time that I get to show up in this space. Um, and I know a lot of people don't get to do that when they are showing up in their career for the work that they do. But the alignment that I feel is unmatched. So I really appreciate that. Yes, you were totally one of my homegirls. Thanks, Courtney. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what I want to do before we end off today is I would like to do a meditation. Okay. Yep. Thank you, Jack. Okay. So I want us to get comfortable really quickly, and we're just gonna do a quick meditation. Okay, because I want to keep you here too long. Plus, guys, I don't know if I told you, but I've been going to this weekly walking group, and they have a session at like 10. So I do need to leave soon, but I want to make sure that we meditate. Um, Thank you, Lotus. I know that about myself deep down. I know you do. I know you do. My college students always love me. I can't imagine them not loving you. They always say I'm the best. I just need to listen to those messages. Yeah, listen to them. Listen to them more. And maybe what you can do, Michelle, and I don't know if it's I don't know if you can, but if you can, maybe at the end of your course, have a survey and have them leave messages for you. And that way you'll have it. You'll have proof. You can be able to read it and see it in someone else's handwriting or from someone else's point of view. Because sometimes we tend to forget the amazing things that people say to us if we don't write them down. Or when you hear a student tell you how amazing you are, you get to put them in your win jar that we talked about a few weeks ago and start adding that to your win jar. So that way when you're having moments like this where you're feeling like, oh, I'm not sure if I have it, if I'm capable, you can go back and read how you've done this already and people have loved it, right? Oh my God, I almost got some days are short days. I could be with y'all forever. I know. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes, Michelle. I love this. Yes, Siobhan, agreed. Write them in your win jar. Thank you. Thank you, Lola. Thank you for the time you dedicated to us every week. I love being here with you all. Okay? Like, very, very much. I'm happy that I can say that. This doesn't feel like an obligation, which is great, right? Because there are so many other things in life that feel like obligation. I don't want to add on to that. Sai, the way you respond with sensitivity and purpose is a gift. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, let's do a quick meditation. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good or to soften your gaze. And just begin to tune inward. You're going to notice that there's a lot of sounds, but I want you in this moment to focus in on my voice. Focus in on your heartbeat. Focus in on your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Notice any sensations in the body. Remember that you are safe in this moment. You are safe to explore whatever it is that you're feeling. You are in divine community with other kind-hearted individuals, beings. And we're all here in this moment from all over the world to connect heart to heart, to recenter ourselves, to rejuvenate ourselves before we begin this week as caregivers, as practitioners, as educators, and so much more. We are collectively taking the time to take care of ourselves, to pour into ourselves first and foremost, to be self first unapologetically. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, release, softening the shoulders, softening the face. Remember that you have this beautiful vessel to help you navigate emotions from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. As emotions come up and rise up within you, you can breathe through them. Remember that you are infinite and that your emotions, they come and they go like waves crashing onto a shore. They come leaving you with information, with insights to help you better navigate your life. And once those are received, they go back to where they came from, to the collective consciousness. You don't have to feel like you're drowning in your emotions. You can remember that you stand firmly on the shore, and that with each inhale, you invite the wave of emotion to come up, to wash over your feet, to make you feel present in this moment. And on that exhale, you release and let go and watch the wave return. Experiencing emotion can be that simple. It is a practice, but it is a practice that you are fully capable of implementing, of integrating into your life. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. Because we feel so deeply, because we are very sensitive, very in tune with the world around us, with the hearts and the spirits amongst us, it's easy for us to feel overwhelmed, for us to feel tied down, for us to feel heavy. And in those moments, I want you to remember to breathe, to get the energy flowing back into the body again, so that you can receive whatever insights you need and you can let go of what no longer serves you. You do not need to carry everything. You simply just need to be here in this moment. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. And let's set an intention for this upcoming week. You can place one hand over your heart space if that feels good. And we're going to set the intention to confidently show up in the spaces in which we lead, in the dynamics in which we engage in. That we're going to lead with our heart this week. We're going to start with our heart and let that take us to inspired action. And maybe that inspired action is to write out a practical plan for our goals, for our desires, put pencil to paper and create magic for ourselves. Because we are worthy of our own magic as well. Not just our loved ones or our community, but us. We get to experience our magic first and foremost. Give that gift to yourself this week. Give yourself the time to write out your deepest desires, to sit with your source, and to allow a game plan to unfold. One where you are focusing on your personal well-being first, and then your professional well-being. Where you honor spirit and source first, and then the rest of the world, and then our logic. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, release, letting go, coming home. You can drop your hand into your lap if that feels good. And I'm just going to say a prayer for us as a collective. Please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. My prayer for us this week is that we remember how magnificent we are, how gifted and talented we are, how kind and soft we are, and that we create spaces and that we show up in environments that support that strengthen us, that rejuvenate us, that help us to rewrite stories, that help us to leave unhealthy dynamics, that help us to come home to ourselves. That we remember our beauty, we remember our brilliance. We remember how infinite we are, and that despite whatever it is that we might endure or experience this week, nothing can break us. Because we lean into our ability to be flexible. We lean into our ability to be soft. And we allow that to be our strength. We allow that to move us forward. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. I'm going to give you a moment to set a personal intention for yourself for this week before we close out. And when you feel ready, let's take a collective inhale, breathing into the lower belly, expanding that breath to the back, breathing into the heart space. Open mouth, exhale, release, letting go. Gently opening up our eyes and refocusing our gaze and coming back to this present moment. I thank you so much for staying over time with me. Okay, I really hope that this session was good for you, that you felt safe, that you feel rejuvenated, that you feel prepared for this upcoming week. We will have a midweek tap-in session where we will do EFT on Wednesday. It'll be at 7:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, not 8, because I'm guest teaching this week in Philadelphia and my class starts early. Okay, so it'll be from 7:17 to about 8:30. And for those that want to learn more about EFT, about what the tapping points mean, the history behind it, I'm hosting my free masterclass on Saturday. If you're a part of the email list, you were able to get the direct link. If you're not on my email list, it's your first time, please send me your email via DM, or you can go to the link in my teacher profile and attach yourself to the email list, and I'll be sending out an email probably tomorrow with reminders. I'm very excited. I hope to see a lot of you guys there. It will be where we get to see each other as well. And also for people who are part of the garden, starting next week, you'll be able to have visual sessions where we'll be able to see each other for things like the Lotus Hour, and for the midweek tap-in, you'll have a special link. So I'm very excited to be able to provide this space for not only myself, but for you all. And I really do hope you have a good week. I hope that you have a good week, and we'll be checking in a few days just in case that doesn't happen, and we can at least end the week feeling good, okay? Yes, thank you so much, Jack. Yeah, midweek tap in, 7:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yes, I'm so happy you're feeling great. I hope everybody's feeling a little bit better. I know we came in feeling a little crazy, but hopefully we're feeling good now. Okay? Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. I love you all so very much. Michelle, thank you for the donation. Thank you. Yes, EST time. Thank you, Jack. Yes. Thank you so much, Courtney. I love you all so much. I hope you have a really good day. I hope you have a good Monday and Tuesday. And if not, on Wednesday, we will be together to tap. Okay? Yes, I love you so much. And this replay will be available in a few hours, okay? Thank you so much.